Hi, everybody. Today we have sort of a challenge. Let's take a look at this board. We have a robot that is functioning as a vacuum cleaner, and it is inside this apartment. And this robot needs to vacuum up all of the Lego bricks that are on the ground. So this is very similar, of course, to robot vacuum cleaners that people are buying today, and we're gonna talk about how loops are gonna help you solve this problem. So last time when we were talking about loops, we were talking about how to get a couple of move blocks to work together in a way that would continue over and over and over again forever. So something like this, and just running something like this, if I connect to the vacuum bot, there we go. Just running something like this, if I let it go for long enough, it may pick up some blocks or it may not. But we can modify the program and get it to where it will drive over closer to where the blocks are. All right, but let's look at another way to use those same blocks. One thing that's interesting here, let me stop this program. There we go. Oh, and if you ever need, I'm in the situation now, if you ever need the little virtual brick up here, you can go to the hidden menu and then click the one that looks like the virtual brick and it'll pop back up for you. That's just it going behind a window or something. All right. So I was kind of giving a hint towards using one block to do circles. One thing that's difficult about doing that, though, is that you end up kind of moving that circle in increments of one rotation or 0.1, whatever. So I'm going to show you a different way to set up your loop block. And it really has more to do with the movement, the steering, than it does the loop, but it's important that it be connected with the loops, and I'll show you why. So instead of you telling your robot, I want you to do a slow turn for one rotation and then do it again and then do it again and again and again, you could do this in a slightly different way. If you look at the first piece here, it says that it's on for a certain number of rotations. That's how we have it set. But if you click on that, there are actually different ways that you can set that, and one of them is on. And if I click for on, when I put it inside of a loop and I hit go, it's going to have the robot do this one block forever, and it's going to do just that movement. It's not going to measure it in increments of one rotation, two rotations. So they call it on, but it's not really just turning the motor on. And let me show you what I mean by that. So, whoops, if I were to do this right here, you might think if this is to turn the motor on that it would do the same thing that this would do, but when you run it, it moves just a fraction of a centimeter and then it stops, and that's the end of the program. So don't think about this as being on. Think about it as being the smallest number that the robot can possibly do in rotation. So like 0.001 or something like that. It's a tiny little movement, but it's the smallest that the robot is capable of making. This mode is extremely useful later on, and you'll see as soon as we start diving into sensors how that is the case. So I just wanted to show that to you. This is one of the most commonly made mistakes in beginning robot assists, or in EV3G language specifically. So that is one new thing I wanted to show you about loops. And then the second new thing that I wanted to show you about loops is how to end one. So I'm going to put this back on, let's say, 4 rotations. All right. And let's say I'm doing a loop that is go straight 1 rotation, then turn right 1 rotation, something like that. If I want to do this loop forever, I can do this. Let's say I wanted to do it 4 times, though, not forever. I want to do it 4 times. So here's what I would have to do. I would have to either do this and then Control C, Control V, just like a word editor. I'm selecting the parts that I want to copy, and Control C, Control V, and it's copy and pasting those pieces over. All right, so that's one way I could do it, but what if I wanted to do it 16 times? I'd have to make this huge program, right? The other way to do that is this. I can grab my loop block and come over, attach it, put the instructions inside of it, forward and then a right turn was what we said. Yeah. Now, where the infinity mark or unlimited is right here, if you click on that, this big list shows up, and don't panic. These are like all the different ways that you can stop a loop where you want it to stop. So in our particular case, in this case, we're going to go down to count. That's like the number of times that I want you to run this loop. So I can click count, and then I can type in how many times I want the robot to go through this exact series of instructions. So if I run it 4 times like this, let's run it and see what happens. Forward and right, forward and right, forward and right, forward and right, and we're done. So if I wanted to do it 16, I could just click there and type 16. So this is a handy way of getting the robot to do something only a certain number of times for you. And it's a good way to sort of practice with how you are going to exit or end a loop like this. This type of loop in a more general computer science kind of setting is called a do until loop. So you're going to do this until this is true. Once you finish with count number 16, you're going to end. So this is a do until loop, and this is called a forever loop, or do while true loop. So those are 2 different pieces for you to take a look at. Use your loops and see if you can get your robot to go on some loops and see if you can get it to sort of wander around in here and scoop up some of these Lego pieces, Lego blocks, Lego bricks that are on the floor, and see how many you can get. And I'd be curious to see what success you have. So you post it in the comments if you like. Next time that we talk about the intro course, we're going to start touching on a little bit of sensor use and how that sort of works with this in order to make bigger programs. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'll see you soon.